This is Michael Arana. I am talking to you from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I am the commander-in-chief of the Arana Nation, the chief resistance nation to the globalists, the guerrilla-armed nation which is in resistance to the globalists and the New World Order. Not this fake teleprompter, uh, tech savvy, even though not really savvy, so-called resistance from Keith Olbermann. No, that's BS. That's the globalists trying to use our tactics to fool sausage-brained people into thinking that that the globalists are somehow resisting. This is real hardcore guerrilla-style tactics resistance. We don't rely on politicians for our salvation. We rely on ourselves. We rely on ourselves. We rely on our guns. We rely on God. We rely on our brains. And we rely on love and our common sense. Now, before I continue with this video, let me say that I am under heavy shadow banning from YouTube. So my videos aren't in any of the suggested columns. So basically, my videos aren't reaching anyone beyond my subscriber base. The only way new people can find out that I exist is if, number one, you like all the videos that I put out, subscribe, share the videos, especially sharing the videos, because then other people will see it. Or the other way is if they literally type in Arana Nation on the YouTube search engine and type in the title of the video. And how will people do that if they don't even know I exist? So if you put in something like Meghan Markle or Donald Trump or Justin Tackett Trudeau or anything that I talk about at length, my videos don't show up because YouTube puts them down because I'm so effective and they have an agenda against Trump and for anything that is liberal or left, that when I destroy it, they're afraid, so they have to censor me. Facebook does not, I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I can't even share my videos. So you guys have to share. You are my foot soldiers. So share the video, like the video, subscribe, and that beats the hell out of the algorithm. It's proof. Now let's get on with this video. Now I have a question for these globalists here. I have a question for you. I mean, just listen to me. I know you don't like me, but just listen to this question. Let your curiosity guide you. I have a question for George Soros, NBC, CNN, Don Lemon, Chris Matthews, Keith Olbermann, Wolf Blitzer, Fox News, all of these people who've been saying, well, does Trump have any proof that the election has been rigged? Does Arana Nation have any proof that the election has been rigged? I know some of y'all have written that in the comments. Do you have any proof? And I do have proof, by the way. But let me ask you this question first. Does Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, lock a brother up Harris, not really black Harris, does the mainstream media, do they have any proof that the election was not rigged? Do they? Do they have any proof that this election was not rigged? I've got plenty of proof. I share it out. I've told you from the moment this election happened, people were finding Trump ballots in the garbage. I have the reports right in the description of this video. They're right there. The mainstream media wants to pretend like they didn't talk about it. And by the way, this is a perfect example for Arana Nation to officially advertise free of charge a company called Yippee. It is similar to Google, but they don't use their algorithms to censor stories that don't favor them. It's run by patriots, it's run by populists, run by freedom lovers, but they don't censor anything. And I was going on Google the other day, and I typed in the story, and I typed in Trump ballots found in rivers. And when I pressed enter, what I found were stories so-called fact-checking Donald Trump about ballots found in the garbage. I mean, it's a fact that they were found in the garbage, and all the mainstream media was reporting it up until it didn't suit them to report it. But what they were saying, I mean, Trump may have over-exaggerated, he may have and That little over-exaggeration was the top of the search. When I typed that same thing in yippee.com, which was Donald Trump ballots found in the garbage, I found those same fact-checking things from NBC. Oh, he over-exaggerated about that. But I also found the original stories of the mainstream media actually reporting on the fact that Trump ballots were found in the garbage. So it's clear that Google has an agenda. It's clear. It's as clear. Anybody who doesn't know this by now is a fool. And that's why I say we don't need we don't need any politician. Not Trump, not Ron Paul, not Rand Paul, not Kanye, but Senator Tom Cotton, Mike Pence, nobody. Tulsi Gabbard, nobody. We don't need politicians to preserve our freedom and our liberties. We need to rely on ourselves, and I'll get to that. Voting miraculously and mysteriously stopped in Pennsylvania and in Georgia because of some water leak. I guess the liberals must have bust a pipe and then people have to leave. Leaving all these ballots, which are being counted, just left there. And then when they come back to go do the count, there were just these more ballots. And again, the mainstream media reported it. More ballots, which were just brought in after Election Day. And they were told, you need to count these. Nobody knows when they were posted, when they were voted on. I mean, can you imagine that? And the Trump observers were not allowed to get anywhere near the ballots when they were being counted, as is tradition. All sides are allowed that right. Scrutineers are called. I used to work for elections. I used to make a little hustling when I used to, in my high school days, and I wanted to get credits and stuff. I worked because I'm in Canada, so I worked for Elections Canada. In fact, the first time I worked in an election was the provincial election of 2014, and I was a ballot person, and they had scrutineers. It's tradition. Have it in America, have everywhere in a democratic world. They were not allowed to get anywhere near the ballots to scrutinize. And then, of course, the mainstream media censoring stories about Joe Biden, corruption with his family, saying that it's Russian collusion. They've been going on with this Russia thing. They still not found any proof that Russia has anything to do with the last election. And I don't even think Russia would be trying to help Trump now because, of course, Trump, and this is a reason why I'm an independent, because Trump himself is not perfect. He attacked Iran. He almost started a war with Iran. He's too close with the Zionists, and Russia does not like Zionism. They know that Zionism is a means of enlarging Israel in the Middle East and expanding globalism and creating wars for profit. I'm not going to get into that. But Russia wouldn't be helping Trump now. I mean, they certainly won't want Biden in there because he's as big a warmonger as anything. He wants to start war with North Korea. But they're not going to help Trump. So you can forget that. But the mainstream media didn't want to report it because they said it was Russian collusion. They didn't want to report on the scandals of Hunter. They didn't want to report on the fact that a woman accused Joe Biden of sexual harassment and assault. Everybody knows that Donald Trump was accused by many women. Some of these women I don't think Trump would touch with a 10-foot pole of sexual harassment. Everybody knows that. Everybody on the street, every woman I talk to, oh, how could you like Trump? He's sexual. But then when I tell them about Biden's accuser, they don't know it. I know it because I'm smart. And I'm not saying they're stupid, but, it's really hard to do what I do and what we do. We really investigate these things. It's not fun. I'd rather be sitting out there eating popcorn and watching basketball and all this sort of stuff, going out hooking up with girls and stuff. And I can do that. But, my freedom, I have to protect it. So these people don't know about Biden was accused of a woman who back in the 90s, well before Joe Biden was running for president, in the 90s when Clinton was president, she went on Larry King Live and said, I was assaulted by a high-profile senator. Biden was a high-profile senator at the time. He had run for president in the 80s, and so he was pretty high-profile. People thought sooner or later he'd be president if he played his cards right. And now it turned, and the clip is there. On Larry King Live, they showed it. They reported on it briefly, and they want to pretend like they didn't. But then now, she comes out and says it was Joe Biden. And the media wanted to downplay it because they want Joe Biden to win. So women out there, NBC, CNN, all those, they don't care about you. If Joe Biden were to kidnap children and eat them and suck the cum out of their coochies, I mean, I'm sorry to talk dirty to you, but this is the way you're going to listen. The media wouldn't care because they want Biden in there. Not because they like Biden, but because he is their puppet. He is their puppet! So they censored the stories, and Google helped them. But I still think Donald Trump won this election. I know he did. Well, look, I think he did. But I know that there was voter fraud. And I've got the proof. Now, is anybody out there willing to give me proof that this election was not rigged? Are you going to tell me now that there were not Trump ballots put in garbages and in rivers? Because it was reported on. It was there. They uncovered it. All the mainstream media talked about it. I've got the links up there in the description. They were found in the garbage. So this election is invalid. No matter who won the election, I would say that the results are invalid. If Trump had won it, though, I would say that the mainstream media and everybody's plan to get him taken down had failed. Because it was Trump ballots found in the garbage, not Biden. It was Trump ballots that were found in the rivers, not Biden. It was Trump's people who are not allowed to scrutineer the voting, not Biden's. And it was Biden ballots, which mysteriously in Wisconsin, in conservative counties in Wisconsin, all of these Biden ballots just came in after the election. 137 Biden ballots just came in after the election. Trump said we should not be counting ballots that were posted after election, and they said they translated it into making him say that Trump wants to stop the voting. No, that's not what he said. But anyway, I think Trump should fight. I think he should take it to the Supreme Court. I think he should fight till the bitter end. I don't think he's going to get a second term. I think they've pretty much screwed this. They've screwed this. But let me tell you something. I'm not feeling bad, and I'll tell you why. This energizes me. I actually think that the globalists have made a very huge mistake. Just like when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, the globalists have awakened a sleeping giant. Have you all ever watched the movie Tora, Tora, Tora? When Japan bombed the hell out of Pearl Harbor, and all the Japanese thought that they had beaten the United States of America, a growing world military power. And the general in the end of the movie said, "We have awakened a sleeping giant." And as a result, the United States grew. They started building planes, bullets, bombs, guns, steel. They built their military. They brought up boys from Detroit, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Houston, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and they all joined the Navy and bombed the shit out of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And today, Japan is still not allowed to have a military now, which I don't really agree with. But you know what? I'm just giving a point here. You, George Soros, NBC, Fox, Bill Gates, all of you mainstream media, Joe Biden, Kamala, Obama, Hillary, Bill, all of y'all, you've awakened a sleeping giant. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I feel in my heart I didn't fight as much as I did in 2016, as I did in 2020. Just like America back before Pearl Harbor. America was asleep. When Hitler was expanding in Europe, when Japan was expanding in Asia, which, I mean, I have my own personal beliefs about World War II, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm just giving an example, okay? I'm not necessarily saying I agree with, because I'm not really, I don't believe in, anyway, just hear me out here. America was asleep to that threat. They were asleep. Just like America was asleep to the threat of Osama bin Laden and the Taliban. They were threatening America, threatening. And America was too busy trying to impeach Bill Clinton about Monica Lewinsky. They were too busy listening to, good old 90s music, Grammys and all that stuff, which is very good, by the way. They were having a party in the 90s, which is, good. They were at peace, but they didn't see the threat coming. Again, I have my own personal beliefs on, the war on terror and all that stuff, but I'm not getting into it. I'm just giving an example. Now, Osama bombed the World Trade Center, smashed it up to the ground, tore up the Pentagon, Flight 93, and then America was awoken. George Bush came out and said, whether we bring our justice to enemies or enemies to justice will be done. And then now, look at America now in the war and all this stuff like that. But unlike those wars, this is a direct assault. We are people who want to keep our personal freedoms, who want to keep the West the best, who want to keep our jobs, who want only sensible people coming into our country. We want our nations from America to Canada and Europe, the West. We want to continue to be strong, peaceful, happy individuals. That's what we want. We want to live in peace. We want to live in peace, but it doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon. We want to live in peace and freedom. And we want to be able to protect ourselves with our guns. We want our economy and our industries to be protected. Bad free trade deals, no good. We want to preserve our borders. But the globalists don't want that. They are trying to take that away from us. They want to dominate us. And we thought that Trump being in there, we were safe. They have hit us with an assault, and now they have awoken a sleeping giant. The sleeping giant is awake. So here's what we need to do. I'm not saying we need to go out there and riot right now like the left. We need to start being reactionaries. If Joe Biden makes a law stating we're going to start rounding up, taking your guns, we need to dare them. We need to make sure that they look down the barrel of our gun and say, if you take one more step, we're going to pull the damn trigger. When Joe Biden decides that he's going to start rounding up Americans and taking them to get vaccines, and if they don't take the vaccines, they go to internment camps, that's when we need to start killing and burning. We're not going to just start rioting and stuff because, we are going to wait. Every action will take a vicious reaction. That is how we will beat the New World Order and the globalists, because they can have their power. But if we aren't going to cooperate, they can't win. There's way more of us than there is of them. Even people who voted for Biden, many of them don't like what he wants to do. They voted for him because Trump is too bad, or he's too loud, or they really just don't know that Joe Biden is going to be 10 times, is really going to be bad. They know what they don't like, but they don't know who to trust. And by the way, Donald Trump nearly won this thing. I think he did win it. But even with the rigging, he's still got a hell of a lot of votes. He almost won the popular vote. It's 50-48. Last time it was 47-45 or 48-45 or something like that. He almost won the popular vote even with rigging. He almost won Pennsylvania by like 2 votes. The Trump base is there. But we don't need any politician. We should, in fact, I am going to say that I'm going to try to stop endorsing politicians, because I feel we should stop trying to rely on people getting into power for our salvation. We need to start relying on ourselves. We need to start pulling up our boots. We need to arm ourselves. We need to stop trying to be comfortable, and we need to get prepared for the assault which is going to happen. They think they've won. They think they have won. But we need to be reactionaries. We need to not cooperate with them. If they try to take our taxes, 95, 96% tax hikes, like Bernie Sanders wants, put your money in a Swiss bank account. You need to start thinking of everything that you don't like about Joe Biden and the globalists, and start preparing for the things that they are going to try to do that you are worried about, and find out what your reaction will be. Stop thinking about, I'm now hearing people, well, let's go wait until 2024. No. In fact, I'm going to try not to endorse any more politicians because I don't want to encourage you guys to keep thinking that politicians will save us. Even when Trump was in there were things that he probably wanted to do and he couldn't do. He doesn't believe in all this mass. He knows that the virus kills less than 1% of people. It's not dangerous. It's the power grab. But even he had to sort of cooperate with Fauci, which I don't think he should have. I think if he stood out there and he set the issues and he said, hey, this is about freedom or tyranny, this election, I think he would have, even with the hoax, even with the rigging, he would have gone over the top. Even with the rigging. But it just goes to show we don't need any I'm more energized now. I'm actually sort of glad that Trump has completed his task. His mission has been accomplished. He was only there to light the flame. Now we've got to burn the globalists down. He was there, he exposed, because when all of us thought that the New World Order was a conspiracy theory and all this stuff, Trump actually proved that it's not. He opened our eyes. He opened our eyes. Now he's gone. And we need to take what he has revealed to us and fight. Fight. Find out what you are worried about that Joe Biden and Kamala and maybe, I think that the next Senate elections, they'll take the Senate. And then it'll be all over. Find out what you don't like about Biden and Harris and the Democrats and the globalists, and you need to prepare your reaction. That will be more effective than 1,000 Trumps in the White House. Trump was there to reveal the threat. Now we need to pull the trigger and defeat the New World Order once and for all. And we will! And in the meantime, Trump keeps on fighting till the last day of his presidency. Do not allow Joe Biden to set foot in the White House so long as you're president. Take it to the Supreme Court. You may not win, but you will show a point that we are not going to just sit down and break bread with these leeches, these cockroaches, these globalists who want to destroy our very way of living. This is the Arana Nation.